Hello everyone, Lightning Cat here, and welcome to a brand new video. Yesterday, I made a video showcasing some of the Ninjago Custom sets I made for Season 16 in Mechabricks. And looking at YouTube analytics, it appears that most of the people who watched my video didn't even get to the images. So, I would like to take the time to show you the images, if you've not seen them before, and I'm going to break the entire sets down for you. But firstly, I'd like to say thank you for 50 subscribers. It's not very much in the grand scheme of things, but to me, it means a lot. So, even if you're not subscribed, the fact that you clicked on this video means a lot to me. So, before we start, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure to leave a like, and yeah, let's just get started with these. Starting up, we have a small set I call the Ember Bike, and this is a small bike for Skylar. It's mainly inspired by the bikes featured in both X1 Ninja Charger sets from both 2014 and 2021 for Legacy. It's quite small, but I think it's more proportionate than most Ninjago bikes in terms of to the minifigures, because most bikes are huge and they're the size of Lego City cars, so this is just a nice smaller build, more relative to the actual Lego motorcycle piece, but I'm still able to accomplish more detail. Also, there doesn't have to be a molded part. There's also a side build, which, I mean, it's almost the same size as the main build, so I guess they could be considered both main builds. But this is a small skeleton outpost, and these sets I've made would bring back the Skulkin, and my idea behind it is there's a small group of rogue Skulkin, who have gone rogue and are out to steal valuable artifacts. So the ninja have to stop them. So there's this small outpost in, what is it called? The Forest of Tranquility. All these sets, except for one of them, are set there. And you can see that there's a bit of bamboo, there's another tree, and there's also a new version of Crazy, or Crazy. I'm not sure how his name is pronounced, since I don't believe it's ever something we hear in the show. He uses the Jester's hat piece, and this is, I believe this was used by Harley Quinn, whereas the original one had red and blue, but I thought the black looked better. And yeah, so this is just a small build. Anyway, moving on to the next one. There's been a set called the Monastery Training back in 2019 for the initial wave of Legacy, but that looked nothing like the Monastery Training course in the show, so I tried to replicate it, and this is not a Legacy set. There's another set later in this video. I believe it's the last one we're gonna see, and I opted not to make these Legacy sets. These are the kind of things that if these were for an official season, I would want them featured in the show. And I know some Legacy sets like the Destiny's Bounty have been featured in the show, but I also want to put this in the context of the show. So we have a Skulkin, which would work if it was a Legacy set, because this would be for Season 1. But we also have Lloyd and Jay, and they have their Season 11 outfits, but in black. You can see they have just those large Lego swords, and this is actually accurate to the show, because in the show they actually did use these swords, or something similar. I mean, Kai used them, but here they'd all be using them. And there's also a little table for Master Wu's tea, and he's not actually included in the set, but it would be for him. And I don't think Lego's ever made the teacup or teapot in this color before, but if you look to the show, at least in the initial seasons, he always had his tea in this color. I mean, not his tea, his teacups and teapot in this color, so I wanted to be faithful to that source material, so I included them in this color. There's also a little training dummy. There's a bunch of targets, another training dummy on the actual platforms that they train on, and there's also that wrecking ball or whatever that Kai swings around on to get from place to place. These circular platforms also turn. There's some gears, and when you turn one of them, they all turn, so that's something I included. Anyway, that's basically it for this set, but there is a bit of exterior. I made sure to include a bit of the actual monastery wall itself, and on the outside, on some rocks, there is another table for Master Wu's tea. The next set is Skull Manor, and this is just it's a bit of a medium-sized set, which is structure, and it's pretty basic. There's not much to it. Uses a lot of big pieces, but I think it looks cool regardless. There's a little balcony where this villain can look out. He's what I consider the main villain of these sets. I don't have a name for him, nor really any of a personality, but I thought he looked cool. Another possible main villain who's only included in this set is this taller skeleton who uses the legs that are used by wither skeletons from Minecraft, so they're taller. He's also holding the serpentine staff mold in black, and you can see Kai featured in his black Season 11 gi, and he would be the focus ninja of this season and in these sets, and so he comes in the most of them, which is this set and another one that you will see. There's also a smaller outpost where that other skeleton who's taller is standing at, and yeah, it's a bit of a tower. So there's also some skulls that have flames at the top that are by the balcony, and inside there are 2 floors. One is just weapon storage, there's a barrel, and then there's a rack that holds 2 shurikens and a sword. Also, there's a little crate that has some daggers. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this set. Then we have the largest one I've made, and by far the one I'm the most proud of. You've probably seen it in the thumbnail for my last video. This is the Fire Temple. Specifically, it's called Return to the Fire Temple, which is actually the name of one of the original mini-movies. So my personal idea behind this is when the ninja were done with the golden weapons at the end of March of the Oni, they placed them back in the spots that they were initially, and since the Fire Temple had been burnt down, they had specially reconstructed it for that purpose. And yeah, so it's quite similar in terms of shaping to the original. It's definitely smaller, and it doesn't have the opening up feature, but it is supposed to be different than the original. That's why I didn't include it with Legacy. You can see the dragon head on the front, and this is actually just a statue this time. This is not an actual dragon. But you could probably fit the Legacy Fire Dragon's head through. It might be a little small, but it would definitely work. As for minifigures, we have Kai, once again. We have that Skulkin villain. We have Skylar again, who includes some flame pieces, which Kai could also use. There's Krazy or Crazy again. I also included Lord Garmadon, who would presumably show up in this season. And just for the heck of it, I included the chicken from Season 11, who also appears in later seasons, but in their lightning state. Like when they're all charged up in, so that's in a clear, transparent blue color. Inside of the Fire Temple, there are 2 statues, one of Kai, one of Wu. And there's also a little pedestal to hold the Sword of Fire. And beside that, there's a chest which has some gems, which I would call Vengestone. At least that's what I intended, but it doesn't look exactly like Vengestone. There was no piece I could really use to make it look like Vengestone. I just used the gems in metallic silver. And yeah, the top floor is just, there's no room for minifigures. It's just some gold decorations, statues, and yeah, that's basically it for these sets. If you'd like to see more, let me know in the comments. I'd love some suggestions for things to make. If you'd like to see more videos like this, I'd love to make them. So yeah, If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that now. And yeah, with all that said, I'll see you in the next video.